Boom shakalaka, what's going on everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love, and I am joined today by Cory Capaldi, the CEO of TheCoinBros. What's going on, Cory?
How you doing?
Hey, I am great. So we were just chatting a little bit before, but I'm pretty excited because we've been in contact for, I don't know, a couple months maybe, trying to set up this interview, finally getting it underway. So today we're going to talk about Bitcoin ATMs, a very important topic. And that's what your company does. So to begin with, just give us like an elevator pitch for TheCoinBros.
An elevator pitch. Well, I prefer to think of myself as a Bitcoin distribution technician. If I can coin that right now, no pun intended. Can we trademark that on this show? That'd be great.
I'm not sure exactly if that would work, but we could try and figure something out.
Fair enough. It's pretty simple. We just sell Bitcoin to whomever wants it within the regulatory framework of the United States, and we have a focus on really. I'm lucky because I don't have a ton of investors. Actually, I built this thing for the most part by myself. Very small team. It's funded by me, and I don't have to answer to anyone. So to be completely honest, there's no bureaucratic framework or policies that you have to get through to implement something that you think is cool. I could do whatever the hell I want, and it's glorious. So yeah, I mean that's really it. We're working towards something that's. I can't say too much about it because one, if it doesn't work out, I'll look like an ass. But two, I don't want someone else to steal the idea, and that does happen. But something that I'm passionate about that kind of sets us aside from, and I'm not throwing shade at other Bitcoin ATM operators. I'm just saying something that sets us aside from other operators is that we are going to go forward with an emphasis on funding people's education. So it's a way to kind of give back in a philanthropic sense. And that's kind of important to me because blockchain education or just education in general is extremely, extremely important, which by the way, a little side, I don't mean to derail this, but you are a veterinarian, right?
Yep.
That's so badass. And I bet that school was extremely expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, we're looking at ways to, help pay people for going to school with the profits from the Bitcoin ATMs. And that's really something that I want to implement in the future. But again, I think it's really cool. Thank you for helping out animals. I love animals. I used to be a paramedic, and I wish I would have not done that and done animals, because they're just so much better.
It's good enough just to love animals because that's what we're all here for. So, I mean, it sounds really great. So you're in Bitcoin ATMs. You have some philanthropic goals that you're working towards. So we're going to talk a lot about Bitcoin ATMs and basically all about them. But before we get into that, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. How and when did you get into Bitcoin? How did you get into TheCoinBros? And just kind of paint the picture.
Okay, I'll try to put this in a nutshell. I got into Bitcoin in 2012. Was sitting in the ambulance waiting for calls. I was kind of always interested in finance, and I just kind of stumbled upon it and had a buddy who did it, who actually mined it and hooked me up, got me some Bitcoin through like a faucet. That was a little bit later on. So that's how I kind of got into it. Really didn't care about it that much until 2013, 2014, where I was like, oh, there's something really going on with this. Cut to 2016, localbitcoins.com was kind of emerging as a big entity to, peer-to-peer buy and sell Bitcoin. It was a pretty big market, and I met a guy on there because every once in a while I would sell some of my Bitcoin for cash. I'm a broke paramedic, so I'm like, I need to pay bills and paramedic school and all that. So we kind of got in contact, and one day he said, there are no Bitcoin ATMs out here in San Bernardino County, which is the biggest county in the nation. He goes, why don't you get a Bitcoin ATM, and I'll help you market it and kind of pump it out to the masses, and we'll see what happens. I said, okay, we could try it. really not 2 weeks after we planted our very first one, which was the very first one in this whole county by far, people were using it constantly and driving really far to get it. So he became my partner, and we, sometimes things just don't work out between partnerships and stuff. And that's not a bad thing, but he wanted to go one direction, I wanted to go another. So I said, all right, let me buy you out. I still want to do this. Let me buy you out. Bought him out, acquired another partner. And that didn't work out either. Again, people just go their own separate ways. They want to do their own thing. And I thought, all right, no more partners. I'm just going to do this my way, the way that I want. And I know it's called TheCoinBros. And
but now you're the coin bro.
yeah, I'm the coin loner. Really, I'm pretty lonely. I'm a lone wolf, and I'm an underdog. But it's a beautiful thing. I love what we're doing, and again, to have that, more than anybody now, to have that flexibility in your life, and to have that, you don't have to answer to anybody anymore, is a blessing. And I'm doing what I believe in. I'm doing what I think is right. So it's every day I wake up excited. So here we are now, and we're just trying to expand as quickly as we can. And being the first out here in this county and seeing the exponential growth. When I first started, there were maybe 75 Bitcoin ATMs in California and about 800 or so worldwide. Now there's well over 1,000 in California alone, and there's over 5,500 worldwide, and there's just no sign of stopping. It was a little kind of a kick in the balls to see the expansion around me, and not be as aggressive as I should have been back then. But now it's full steam ahead, and we have a lot of traction and a lot of steam going forward, and I'm just I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Cool. So I want to get into kind of the nitty gritty of Bitcoin ATMs. But I think to begin with, what's something that most people don't know about Bitcoin ATMs?
Good question. For one, people don't know initially how they work. They walk by it. It's always the same responses. Is that a Bitcoin ATM? And then, yeah, it is. And whoa, that's really cool. So they don't know they work. They don't know why they even exist. I guess those would be the two main.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a great point there, because I'm not sure if you've heard this story, but I tell it all the time. My brother and I used to live around the corner from a post office, and they had a Bitcoin ATM in there. And we would pretty much go to that post office every day or every couple of days, and we'd see the Bitcoin ATM, and we'd be like, what's that Bitcoin thing? Isn't that the thing that's like has a limited supply? What's going to happen when they reach that limited supply? And that was the end of the conversation. And so for like 2 years, I just walked by that thing every day until I actually learned about Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool story. Do you remember when that was? How long ago?
It was probably about 2014 to 2016.
In a post office. Wow.
It wasn't like a U.S. post office. It was like one of those local mailing places, like mailboxes, etc. type thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But
cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bitcoin ATMs. So why is somebody going to go to a Bitcoin ATM as opposed to going somewhere else to buy Bitcoin?
One of the main advantages of going to a Bitcoin ATM as opposed to an exchange, for instance, I don't know if, first of all, wow, my head literally just exploded with things to say, because it really is a huge difference. Let's just say Coinbase, for instance. You have to sign up with Coinbase, KYC, whatever. You sign up. There's an onboarding process. Sometimes it takes about 2 weeks or so for you to link your bank account, for them to verify you.
And especially when Bitcoin was popular, it was just like months. Like back in the end of 2017, 2018, all the exchanges, you couldn't even buy it on there.
It's kind of a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, you link your bank account, and if your bank account sees that transaction, because they love to tell you what to do with your money,
Mm-hmm.
they will close your account. And there's been so many occurrences of that happening. It's crazy. So that's one, is the onboarding process and the long wait times that you may have. The other one is, let's just say you get your Bitcoin, they're going to hold it for you for 2 weeks until it clears or whatever. So now, like you said, it might be a month before the time you actually really receive your Bitcoin, which is crazy. People want it now. Another reason is, do you hold your Bitcoin on an exchange? You trade. I noticed that you trade a little bit here and there. So maybe there's some, and maybe you take it off. But can you ever think of a time where it was a bad idea to keep your Bitcoin on an exchange?
Yeah, all the time is a bad time to keep your Bitcoin on me.
It's suicide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Bitcoin ATMs not only allow you to circumvent this annoying onboarding process, but send it to your own wallet wherever the hell you want, whenever you want, immediately. We still, at certain amounts, have a KYC verification policy, and that's due to our compliance and AML policy that we have, that if you don't have one of those, you are going to be in for a bad time. So we learned really quickly you have to have a policy, but it's just not close to as painful as the policies on the exchanges. And that's really that immediate pump your money in there, you get your Bitcoin or your other cryptocurrencies that we offer, and you're on your way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the convenience factor that really shines above the rest compared to a lot of the exchanges.
So you actually sell other cryptocurrencies on your ATMs as well?
I do, yeah.
Like what?
Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and I'm looking to implement a couple other ones. I need to see a demand for it first before I actually commit to something like that.
But that's pretty awesome. So people can go and they can buy, a few of the top 5 cryptos on your ATMs.
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but there was in February the crazy influx of Litecoin buys and Bitcoin buys. I thought, oh shit, we hit bottom. Like it was so busy, I couldn't keep these machines stocked. And I was looking at it compared to even 2017, 2016, and I was getting calls for obscene amounts that I couldn't, I wasn't able to do that much, first of all. Second of all, I didn't even have that much at the time, but it was just so much and so big. I thought, wow, there is really a need for specifically Litecoin and Bitcoin. It was crazy. So that was a really good indication. I kind of get the inside scoop on a lot of things because I like to trade as well and look at the exchange volume, but there's also a whole other OTC world that we're a part of that you don't see, that doesn't move the price, but it eats up the liquidity. And it's such a good indication of a impending move.
Mm. Yeah, so that's a really good position that you're in. I'm curious, how do you keep, or what do you have to do to keep the ATM stocked? Like, what's your job as the ATM owner?
Liquidity. The cash that goes into the ATMs immediately gets converted into more liquid. And that's really about it. You have to constantly buy from OTC markets or however you can get it, really. It's been a challenge. It's a lot easier now. It was a lot harder when, even 6 months ago, but we're slowly unlocking the DNA to make this really mainstreamed for the future with zero hiccups. I'm a zero hiccup kind of guy. And I kind of OCD and I want things to go perfectly, especially with the business. And it's been hard. Like, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I'm someone I'm not. This shit is hard, dude. Like, it is a constant challenge from customers to liquidity to people stealing the Bitcoin ATMs. And people trying to rip you off. I mean, it's a nut. This is like I said, I was a paramedic. This shit is crazier than being a paramedic on a daily basis. It's just, I didn't have any gray hair before this. Let me tell you that.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So, walk me through a first-time Bitcoin ATM user, because I remember back in 2017, one of my friends wanted me to like show him how to use a Bitcoin ATM, and I went and I did that, and for him it was very difficult comprehending like what a Bitcoin wallet was, how to hold the Bitcoin on there, how to buy it at the ATM, why there was such a large fee on it. So can you kind of like walk us through what it's like for somebody their first time using an ATM? Like, how are they going to know where to hold the Bitcoin? How are they going to know, what the fees are for and what they're actually buying it at?
Yeah. Well, that's a really typical question, is how do I buy this? So I usually explain to the client that they need a online wallet. I really don't like to give suggestions of what wallet to use. So a lot of the times I suggest that they do their own due diligence and find out what a reputable Bitcoin wallet is. But once they have their wallet, you literally go up to the ATM. I would have brought one behind me and kind of demonstrated it. That would have been cool. But you walk up, you press buy Bitcoin, you put in the money, you scan your wallet, and literally that's it. It's just 3 or 4 steps. And as long as you have a reputable wallet, that's really all you have to worry about.
Okay, cool. So why are the fees so low? I don't know how large they are on your ATMs, but some of them that I've seen are pretty exorbitant. So why are fees higher on Bitcoin ATMs than we might expect to see other places?
Yeah, good question. People don't understand there are so many associated costs with this. Let me paint a picture. I use General Bytes as a Bitcoin ATM, and they're great. They have great security, great software, and they're super affordable. Still, for the lowest model, it's $4,000. Okay, and that's a one-way. I have a couple that are two-way where you buy and sell. Those are $9,000. There's no layaway plan on that. You have to buy it outright.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a large initial, capital investment that you have to deal with right off the bat. Okay. Number 2, you have to buy Bitcoin. Maybe you hold it on a wallet and it's privy to fluctuations, or it's more rather subject to fluctuations. So that's kind of a drag too. Licenses. We have a compliance officer. Shout out to Jessica Murphy. She's amazing. Guess what? She's an employee. You got to pay her, right? Employees are expensive. You have to pay people what they're worth. We have rent that we have to pay for every single location, right?
Yeah.
So there's a ton of overhead, not to mention marketing, listing these ATMs on certain websites and paying to promote them, like on coinatmradar.com, where everybody kind of goes and says, where's a Bitcoin ATM near me? Boom, coinatmradar.com. By the way, if you want your Bitcoin ATM to be visible, you got to pay them, right? You can list it for free, but if you want that extra boost, so everywhere you turn, you're kind of getting nickel and dime, not to mention banking fees, not to mention, associations with an LLC startup fee. And I mean, just like, oh, by the way, armored car pickup is expensive too. I could just keep going on and on. People don't see that. They see an ATM, it's just sitting there. Why the hell is the fee 10%? Well, let me tell you, the margin gets smaller and smaller and smaller the more reputable you are, ironically enough. You know what? Our fees are more than fair. There's really one person who kind of beats us, and they are an amazing Bitcoin ATM provider, and those guys are CoinFlip. Good guys, and I'm giving credit where credit is due. They know what they're doing, but no one else can beat us next to them. And I've seen as high as 45%. Wow. Yeah. And what's crazy is that people, they go, all right, fuck it, and they buy it. And It seems unreasonable,
But the
but
convenience factor, if that's your only option for buying Bitcoin and you want to buy it, you're going to do that.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
you look places like Zimbabwe or other places that have government issues, and they're buying Bitcoin at a huge premium. Some almost pay twice as much for Bitcoin just because their national currency is devaluing so fast.
yeah, sure. Supply and demand. If you want to subscribe to that law or the notion of supply and demand,
Hmm. Yeah.
I
So
don't necessarily agree with charging that much, but I get it. Like everybody's overhead and margins are different.
yeah,
We're reasonable, and we work with, and we do little promos here and there. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but it is convenient to get it immediately.
cool. So you mentioned before that there's a lot of Bitcoin ATM scams going on out there. So what exactly are those, and how can people watch out for them?
Red flag number one: um, if somebody ever calls you telling you that they have your social security number, or you have a warrant out for your arrest, or you owe an overdue bill, all you have to do is go to a Bitcoin ATM and send it to their address. That's a scam.
Hmm.
You we have had multiple encounters where it's really elaborate, actually. They'll get a call from a random person saying that their social security number was compromised and used for illicit, illegal activity. Okay. And they have your information already. So they're reciting your social security number, where you live, your relatives. So immediately they go, oh shit, this person really has my information. They say that they have a warrant out for your arrest. Then they'll have someone else, it's like a tag team, they'll have someone else call you from a sheriff's department nearby. So let's just say you live in New Jersey. They'll have someone from New Jersey Sheriff's Police call you and say, yes, we have a warrant out for your arrest. You need to take care of this immediately. So now you're threatened on one end, and then you have someone who's following up that threat on another end, and they sound completely legitimate. They're getting phone numbers, and they're able to actually, on your caller ID, it will say New Jersey Police.
Hmm.
It's wild. It really is, and it's super convincing. And these people, they're good people, and they're just, I don't want to say gullible, but they could never dream that someone would actually do this.
Hmm.
So hook, line, and sinker following for it. But at the end of it, they go, just go to this Bitcoin ATM near you. So they'll target the closest one near them
Hmm.
and pump in 5, 10, whatever it is. How much money do you have in your bank account? I have 5,000. Put it all in there, and
Hmm.
we'll see it go away. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, this is ruined people's lives, and we've dealt with a lot of it, and we're so good at catching it immediately. A couple times I was able to stop the transaction in the middle and actually give the people their money back. I've even had a couple of the scammers call me, yelling at me, threatening to kill me. I'm not exaggerating. Like they go crazy because I'm fucking with their business, you know, and they're
Hmm.
ruining people's lives, and it makes me absolutely insane. And that's just one kind of scam that they're throwing. We had one where some lady and the store owner stopped it, where it was a Edison bill, a SoCal Edison electric bill, where she came down and it was a fake bill, and they said that she owed like $1,000. She was about to use it, but now I've been training my store owners that host a Bitcoin ATM what to look for. And so immediately he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" She explained it to him. He said, "Stop. That's a scam." And he called me up, and he was so happy he stopped the scam.
Hmm.
So we're doing everything we can, and that's a full-time job in itself, is stopping these prominent scams, because they're just everywhere. And it's unfortunate that Bitcoin ATMs are being targeted. And imagine your first experience with Bitcoin is getting scammed for $10,000.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
They're making all these Bitcoin ATMs look bad. And, so we're trying to pull together the whole community to do what we can. But they're out there, and they're good at what they do, and we're good at what we do too. So
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing the right thing with educating the store owners, educating the customers, different stuff like that. Because, I mean, anywhere there's money involved, there's going to be scammers, and but it is kind of the worst way to get introduced to Bitcoin, like people who got into BitConnect in the beginning, or they got scammed on a Bitcoin ATM, or like I have a bunch of scammers posing to be me on social media and contacting all these ICOs saying, "Hey, I'll do a review for you for X and X money." So yeah, it's just scammers galore just because there's money involved. But I mean, it's good that you let everybody know what the scams are, so how now they can be aware of it, and more than that, they can tell their parents and their grandparents to be aware of it, because that's probably the targeted demographic is the older generation.
You know what? More often than not, it is. Every once in a while, you'll get someone you're like, how do you, are you serious right now? Like, you're not at all the demographic. How did they get you? And then you hear their story. But, you know, we also have on the screen terms and conditions, and it's like, stop, are you being scammed? When you go to my website, you can't even enter the website without looking at a scam warning all over the place. I mean, we're loud about it, and people still fall for it. And you can't fix some of the people, but you can definitely educate them. And so you nailed it. It really is about education. Good people are falling for it, and I wish it didn't happen, but it does, and we have to fight back.
Yeah. So, in terms of Bitcoin ATMs, how are they helping with overall Bitcoin adoption? And then also, what are you doing to help get adoption of Bitcoin ATMs?
Okay, so you know, guys like you and I and whoever's listening to this, we're already kind of initiated. We're in the group. We know what it is. For someone who doesn't know what it is, the role it plays is, to a lot of people, Bitcoin to them is a magic internet money. It's not tangible. You can't touch it. That's the thing I hear from most people. It's not really there, right? Well, you know what? The money in your bank account isn't really there.
Good point.
You can go on all sorts of different, hypothetical arguments, but Bitcoin ATMs make this a tangible, tactile thing where they see it. It has your brand on it. You know, it says Bitcoin all over it, and they go, huh? And they look at it. From their first purchase, they actually see how you can purchase Bitcoin. They see how easy it is to do, how instantly it gets to you. And it becomes a real, actual thing to them instead of just some obscure concept that they heard of somebody talking about one time. So it really, once you're touching and you're feeling it and you're going through the motions and you see it appear in your wallet, it's real. You know, a second way that we help through adoption is just the branding awareness. Again, anytime somebody walks by it and they're not, already initiated, big smile on their face. Whoa, is that a Bitcoin ATM? And they tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and it's really it's cool to see that happen, and it's happening more and more every single day. And I get calls all the time asking how to use it and what is Bitcoin, and we have a couple instructional videos on our ATMs as well on my website. And it's getting easier and easier every single day to convince someone who's at least open-minded that this is a real thing and that it's here to stay. And what we're doing is we're going out, either giving with a referral fee, or if a friend knows a friend and they have a really cool location that they want, we're open to putting it there anywhere. Again, we could do whatever the hell we want. And if you say there's a location at the darkest depths of the earth, we'll put one there, and we'll treat the person who hosts it right, and we'll give you a referral fee. So there's a lot of incentives to put these machines in your store. I see a future where if you have a venue, whether it's a liquor store or a bar or a coffee shop or smoke shop, whatever it is, if you don't have a Bitcoin ATM, you're incomplete. I really see that. I really see that. If you look on the map, coinatmradar.com, it is peppered. The world is peppered with them, and it's just the beginning. It really is. At a certain point, these things kind of sell themselves, but still we're pushing that adoption rate as much as we can. We're kind of forcing it upon people as well. But yeah.
Awesome. So anything else that you think people should know about Bitcoin ATMs or about CoinBros?
You know what? You don't have to go to CoinBros. Just go to someone that you trust, that you have a good relationship with. Customer service is really important. That they answer, that they're respectful, that they are there for you all hours of the day. Because when you're messing with people's money, they want it immediately. And people get really anxious when they don't see it pop up in their wallet. So that's really important to us as customer service. And just go with someone that you think that you can have a good relationship with. That's really about it. Buy Bitcoin. Whoever's listening to this, if you don't already have it, it really is the future, and you just got to take the plunge. And once you go in, you'll never go out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I've never met somebody who's actually learned about Bitcoin and not invested.
Yeah.
So, last question that I have. So, anyone who's interested in maybe they have a business and they want to host a Bitcoin ATM, or they want to find out more information about CoinBros, how can they go about doing that?
They can go on my website at thecoinbros.com, and there's a little contact us page, and we'd be happy to entertain any conversation. I love talking to people, and I love talking about different opportunities. Look, full disclosure, I'm not the most intelligent guy out there. I'm not, and I make a lot of mistakes, but I know a good opportunity when I see it. And I think that makes up for a lot of it. And how much better is your life since you got into Bitcoin? Realistically.
Oh, dude, it's night and day. I was miserable before I got into Bitcoin, and now I live my ideal life.
Yeah. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Yeah.
Don't you
It's wonderful.
don't you want that smile that you have on everybody's face?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's there, man. People really, really love this. You have a great community. You have a great show. This whole community that we have, the culture is really one of a abundance mindset, you know? And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And we just kind of all have to help each other and educate one another. And it's just to the moon, to the moon.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Well, Cory, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Thanks so much for sharing with us all the information about ATMs.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope it wasn't too long-winded. I'm a little nervous, but I really appreciate you. And I'm a big fan of you and what you're doing. And it's cool to see your progression through the years. And you've been doing this for about 2 years, right?
It'll be 2 years in 9 days.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah, it is crazy. Time flies. Huh?
Definitely does. Well, cool, man. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. And then we'll catch you later. Peace, man.
Yeah, thank you.